Hey, welcome to the live stream. Today, I wanted to have a look at something really interesting that's happening in the world, and it's changing really fast. And yet, I feel like we're going back to the past. So, we're going to talk about audience fragmentation and reaching your audience. It's one of those things that has become more noticeable over the last couple of years. Traffic is dropping, things are changing. Social media just doesn't seem to get the cut through. You've got to be constantly rolling with all the changes. So, one week it might be you need to be doing posts with nice pictures. Next week, well, we prefer reels. And this stuff is happening all the time. And the problem is, as business owners, people just can't keep up. And so they're busy doing business and they're trying to attract people to their business, and they don't have time to learn all this stuff. And it becomes really, really frustrating. But what I found is that we're getting a little bit of this back to the future sort of thing, where what used to work in the past is still working, but is working again. People have rediscovered it, probably is the best way to put it. So I suppose the best way to put it is, back when I first got on the internet, there was no search engines as such. There was a few directories. Now, I mean, we're talking about 1994 here, 93, 94, 93. And things were really, really different. There was just lists of links on people's pages. You clicked a link, you went somewhere else. But what was happening in the background that was really, really powerful was forums. And forums were places where you logged on to a bulletin board, and there'd be topics and subtopics, and you go into those topics and you'd type, questions, and you'd answer questions and chat with people from all around the world. And it was really, really cool, because you got to remember, in these days, the internet was brand spanking new. The web itself, in its true form using browsers, hardly existed. And in fact, it was really just blue links, grey pages, and black writing. So it was pretty dull. So what we found was, when I first started selling my books to teachers online, and this is how I got into online marketing, I was joining teaching groups and answering questions about education and about teaching and about, using computers in the classroom, which was my specialty, and all these areas that people were interested in and were asking questions and needed help. So my job, really, I just found I logged on and I answered questions because, number one, I enjoyed it. Number two, great environment, and I connected with people around the world. Well, it looks like we're going back to those days. If you want to get real engagement, you want to see results reasonably quickly these days, one of the best ways is to get involved in groups. Now, there's all sorts of groups available these days. So there's not just, the old-fashioned forums. We've got Facebook groups, we've got LinkedIn groups, we've got not Descript, we've got all the other chat programs that are available that you can log into these different areas and chat to people in subgroups. So Reddit, for example, is another one that I particularly like. The trick is to pick 2 or 3 groups where the conversation's good and strong, and it's about the topic that you're interested in. So it's all very well for me to be involved in one of our teachers, for example, but one of the teachers groups that I joined recently to see what was going on in there for a bit of research and just a bit of interest, quite frankly, turned out that it was really just a case of whinging about teaching, which is fantastic. It's a good place for people to vent and let it all out, but it wasn't any good to me from a business perspective, and I really didn't need to hear about all the problems people were having. As a former teacher, I know the problems about teaching, and nothing's changed. It's just got worse. So that was not a good group for me. So I need to dig around, and I needed to kind of find groups that are more suitable to where I want to help people and what I do. So from your perspective, that means finding 2 or 3 key groups to connect with. So go on LinkedIn, join dozens of groups, see which ones are actually active. You'll find some that got like 1,000 members, but nothing ever happens there. And you'll see it in Facebook too. I've created Facebook groups with multiple thousands of members, but no one ever writes anything. The only thing you ever see is ads. There's no conversation, even with prompting, even with everything. So it's really difficult to find good groups that have good conversations. But once you do, it's a pretty simple process to start to promote your business without promoting your business. In other words, you're showing your expertise, you connect with people, and they like what you're talking about, and they'll follow back to your profile. And from your profile, they'll be able to follow you to your website and all those sorts of things. So it is really key, once you start doing this process, to make sure your profile talks about what you actually do. One of the biggest mistakes I see is people have their name on their profile, but it doesn't say, like mine, where it says Mr. Web Marketing. It doesn't say what I do if I don't have that there. And so what you need to do is go and do that as well, because just following back your profile to find out that, you know, you live in a certain place and you do a certain job and all those sorts of things really isn't helpful to the person who's looked at your profile to realize that you can help them with their problems. So fix your profile first of all, and make sure there's a link to your webpage or your lead capture or whatever it is you're doing. I would, recommend you have a lead magnet. Again, we're not promoting that here. We're just setting that up in our profile. So spend 10 minutes in each group every day. Pretty simple, isn't it? Interact and comment on at least 5 different posts. So take the time to find 5 posts that are really active and make good, helpful, useful, educational type comments, and do that in each group. Okay, so get into 2 or 3 groups and do it in all of the groups. Then you need to share valuable information in there about what it is that you do. So you might put some information in there about how the other day you found this great resource with a link to your resource, and how it's helped you grow your business, or how it's helped you help one of your clients, or whatever it might be. But take that information and build it around that, and then give that free resource away to people, and they'll like that. And in what you're talking about, then they may follow you back. This helps build your expertise. It involves you in the conversations on there. It shows that you're interested and you're actually contributing to the group, which people like. And when you're doing this on a daily basis, day after day after day, people see this happen. They see you and they start to recognize you, and you'll see the comments grow in that. Once you've done that, then try and add 5 new people to your network, especially if you're using LinkedIn. Go and find 5 people within that group who you think are really active and add them into your network and connect with them. And then as time goes on, start a direct conversation with them. Talk to them, get to know them personally. One of the key things that I found that was really interesting was that I was connecting with these people, and I was talking to them all over the world when I was doing the forum chats, and it was just so much fun. It was so fascinating. But the great thing was, in the end, it actually drove a lot of people to my website where they were able to use the free resources for using computers in the classroom. And those free resources allowed me to then promote my paid resources. So that's my thoughts for today. The audience is getting a bit fragmented. You need to get out and be actively involved. It's no different to going to networking in business, but take your time, find some really active groups, get involved, do your 5 posts, comment on 5 posts, get it all done and get it out there and see what happens. I'll catch you in the next live stream.